5 RV brands are robbing their buyers right now. 3 are worth every penny. James paid $72,000 for an Arctic Fox in 2019. 5 years, 47,000 miles. Logging roads in Oregon in the rain. Structural repair bill, $0. He asked one question the other buyers did not. We have the build specifications. We have the service records. Today, we open both. Brand 1, Keystone. Keystone is the highest volume RV line in America. Volume means one thing on an assembly line, speed above everything else. The failure is delamination. The exterior walls separate from the frame, not from impact, not from age, from water finding a roof seal that was applied in 15 minutes on a 6-hour assembly line. Keystone bonds thin fiberglass to inexpensive Luan plywood with a water-soluble adhesive. The moment that seal cracks on the highway, water enters the wall cavity and goes straight to that adhesive. The bond dissolves. The wood rots. A bubble forms on the sidewall. By the time that bubble appears, the structural failure has been running for years. Picture a wet paper bag holding up the wall of your trailer at 65 miles an hour. That is what Keystone's adhesive becomes the moment water finds it. The factory saved $12 per unit on adhesive. The owner pays $8,000 to $22,000 to rebuild the wall. Keystone's problem starts at the wall. Heartland's problem starts deeper, at the frame that holds the entire unit together at highway speed. Heartland specializes in fifth wheels and toy haulers, the heaviest units on the road, and they reduced the steel gauge in their frames to cut costs while making the trailers larger and heavier at the same time. Less material, more load, more miles. The welds connecting the front cap to the sidewalls crack under towing stress. The structure starts moving independently of the walls around it. Stripping the entire front skin and re-welding runs upwards of $10,000. Most owners discover it after the warranty expires. The repair often exceeds what the unit is worth. Economically totaled while still standing in the driveway. The factory saved $340 per unit on steel gauge. The owner pays $10,000 or more to strip and re-weld. Heartland's failure is in the steel. Forest River's failure is in the people they hired to work with it, and the system that told them speed was the only thing that mattered. Forest River is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, second largest RV manufacturer in America by volume. Their assembly workers are paid by the unit, not by the hour. Piece rate pay means the faster you finish, the more you earn. The result is documented across thousands of owner reports and lemon law filings. Construction debris sealed inside walls, sawdust, glue bottles, food wrappers, electrical wires stapled straight through insulation, plumbing kinked around corners, cabinet screws that missed their studs entirely. A wire stapled through its own insulation heats under electrical load melts through its jacket and arcs against the staple. RV electrical fires are one of the leading causes of total loss. Forest River has ranked among the top manufacturers for NHTSA recall volume for the past decade. The piece rate system costs the factory nothing extra. The incentive structure costs the owner everything. Forest River built trailers to a system. Jayco once built trailers to a standard. Then the system bought the standard for $576 million. Jayco was founded in 1968 by Lloyd Bontrager in Middlebury, Indiana. Family-owned, rooted in Amish craftsmanship, heavier framing, real wood cabinetry. Hand-inspected systems, multi-generational loyalty built over decades. That era ended in 2016 when Thor Industries acquired Jayco for $576 million. Modern Jayco units now use cheap staples instead of screws. Plastic plumbing fittings that crack after a single freeze-thaw cycle. Particle board where real wood used to be. The same water-soluble adhesive running across the entire Thor platform. The Jayco name survived the acquisition. The Jayco build did not. Thor saved $85 per unit in materials. The owner pays $14,000 to rebuild walls on a trailer that still carries the family name. The industry calls this panel and seam construction. Owners call it a water delivery system with a 5-year timer. Both are accurate. Jayco sold a name. Airstream is selling something different, a logo. at $165,000, with the same failure timeline. A 2025 Airstream Globetrotter costs $165,000. For that price, most buyers expect something close to perfection. The aluminum shell uses thousands of rivets. Aluminum expands and contracts with every temperature swing. The rivet holes open by fractions of a millimeter through thermal cycling. The seals degrade. The water enters. Below your feet, silently, the subfloor begins to absorb it. Owners document soft spots and mold under the flooring on units less than 3 years old. Fixing it means gutting the interior entirely. Repairs run $5,000 to $15,000. In a $30,000 trailer, a leaking rivet is an annoyance. In a $150,000 Airstream, it is a betrayal. The factory saved 45 minutes of calibration per unit. The owner pays $5,000 to $15,000 to gut the interior. 5 manufacturers, 5 different engineering failures. One identical outcome. The sticker on the side tells you who sold it. The frame underneath tells you who built it. They are not the same company anymore. James asked about the frame. That question cost him nothing. The answer saved him everything. 5 brands, 5 failure mechanisms. Now here is what the other side of the industry looks like. The 3 builders who refused to participate. James bought his Arctic Fox from Northwood Manufacturing, based in Hood River, Oregon. Not an Elkhart assembly line, not a Thor subsidiary. A company that builds its own frames entirely in-house. Northwood's Iron Horse chassis is fully welded thick-wall aluminum, double bead welded on every structural seam. The frame specification is not outsourced to a third-party supplier optimizing for shipping weight. It is designed and built by the same people who bolt the box on top of it. The frame flex that cracks Heartland's welds under highway towing stress cannot happen on a double bead welded aluminum frame. The failure mechanism requires a weld sized for production speed. Northwood's weld is sized for the load. James pulled his Arctic Fox down a logging road in Oregon in the rain. Not a Forest Service road, a logging road. Ruts, rocks, standing water, grades that would flex a standard trailer frame past its limits. He checked every wall panel with a moisture meter when he got back to camp. Nothing above 11%. In 5 years, it has never read above 11%. Before you buy any trailer, ask the dealer for the frame specification in writing. Who built it? What material? How it was welded? A correctly built trailer has this documentation because the manufacturer is proud of it. If the dealer cannot produce it, the frame was outsourced. Walk away. Northwood runs between $55,000 and $85,000 new. James has spent $0 on structural repairs in 5 years. But Northwood still has a frame underneath it. The next builder eliminated the frame problem entirely by eliminating the material that makes the frame necessary. Oliver Travel Trailers builds a double-hull fiberglass shell, an outer shell and an inner shell, bonded together with closed-cell foam insulation between them. No rivets, no structural wood in the water path, no roof seam, no corner joints. The failure architecture of every brand in Part 1 requires a seam for water to enter, a roof seam, a rivet hole, a panel joint, a corner caulk line. Oliver's shell has none of these. It comes out of a mold as one continuous bonded unit. There is no adhesive bond to dissolve. There is no penetration point for water to find. The failure mechanism is not just unlikely. It is physically impossible. Walk around the exterior of any trailer before you sign and count the seams. A panel and seam trailer has a visible horizontal line where the roof meets the wall, corner seams, and a front cap join line. An Oliver has 0 exterior seams. 0 seams means 0 entry points. The failure cannot begin. A used 2018 Oliver Legacy Elite costs $50,000 to $70,000 and holds its value. For the price of one leaking 2025 Airstream Globetrotter, you can buy a used Oliver and the truck to tow it. The Oliver will hold its value, the Airstream will hold its water. Oliver solves the problem by eliminating the seam. The next builders solve it the same way, at a fraction of the price. Casita, Scamp, Bigfoot, escape. These builders mold the entire shell as one continuous fiberglass unit. There is no roof panel lowered onto wall panels and sealed at the edge with caulk. There is no corner joint. There is no panel seam anywhere on the exterior. The shell comes out of a mold as a single piece. Every failure mechanism in Part 1 requires water to find an entry point. Keystone needs a cracked roof seal. Airstream needs a degraded rivet seal. Heartland needs a cracked weld that opens the panel seam above it. A molded fiberglass shell has none of these entry points. The water has nowhere to go because there is no gap to find. A casita trailer built in 1994 has the same structural shell as a casita built today. The mold does not change. The fiberglass does not rot. There is no wood behind the wall to absorb moisture because there is no wall assembly. Just one continuous piece of fiberglass sitting in the same shape for 30 years. Before signing anything, knock on the interior wall with your knuckle. A hollow knock means wood framing behind a thin panel. A solid resonant knock means fiberglass or composite. Then ask when the roof was last resealed. A molded shell should not require resealing because it has no roof seam to seal. If the answer is recently, ask why. Casita and Scamp start around $25,000. Bigfoot and Escape run up to $55,000. Every one of them eliminates the failure mechanism entirely, not by building it better, by building it differently. James still has the original Northwood frame specification sheet in the drawer next to his mileage log. He wanted proof that what he bought was what they promised. 5 years and 47,000 miles later, he has that proof. Same price range, same research process, one different question. Every part of the system that fails buyers in this industry functions exactly as designed. Every part of the system that protected James functioned exactly as designed. That is not negligence. That is architecture.